Hello everyone, very good evening. Welcome to StudyIQ IS English channel. I am your educator Praveen Mishra, and with the very first class for the series of Indian polity, we are going to discuss the very first ever chapter, that is the salient features of the Indian Constitution, right? So guys, to start, before starting, I would just like to state here that just release all of your stress and tensions with regard to the subject, as we'll be discussing each and every single chapter. Yes, each and every single chapter, along with all the other doctrines and cases that I promised a couple of hours back when we were having the orientation session of the subject. Right? Okay. So the very first chapter, that is what salient features of the Indian Constitution. So, what is the meaning of the word salient? Yes, you can call it as a striking feature or the adjective of a particular book or something that is the highlight, simply speaking, right? What is the highlight of the Constitution? The highlight of the Constitution is itself that it is the Constitution of India. If we say India is the most unique nation of this planet, it will be not wrong to state it. Yes, not Asia, the whole globe. India possess an absolute amount of uniqueness. What is this uniqueness? And from where does this uniqueness comes from? Let's determine all the parameters. Let's say, for example, language. If a country is said to be very diverse with regard to the language, then there would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 languages spoken in that country. For example, America, it is having 4 to 5 languages. Americans, they do speak English, they do also speak Mexican, they do also speak Mandarin, they also do speak Italian. Okay, so they speak n number of languages. According to them, 4 to 5 languages, it's diverse. Let's talk about India. In India, we speak officially 22 languages, right? 22 languages are officially registered languages. When we talk about the non-official languages, it will cross the mark of 1000 or more even, right? Then we talk about geography. Let's say, talking about the topography first of all. If there is a country which is having greenery, that country is having only and only greenery. If there is a country that is having islands, there will be only and only islands. If there is a country having desert, it will be having only desert. Or if there is a country having white desert that is filled with snow, right, then it will be having only snow. If there is a country having plateaus, it will be having only plateaus. What do you want? Come to India. You want beaches, you want islands, you want snow, you want desert, you want hills, you want greenery. Everything is here. From Indira Point to Indira Col, from Nagaland, Arunachal to Gujarat, Rajasthan, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, from Lakshadweep to Andaman, you will find all of the geographical features that are present in the different nations of this globe, present all alone one in India only, right? When we talk about cuisine, we go to China, we'll have Chinese food. We go to Japan, we'll have the Japanese food. We go to Europe, we can have the continental food. Come to India. What is Indian food? See, dal bati churma is also Indian food. Makke di roti sarson da saag is also Indian food. When we talk about the further of the aspects, dosa, idli, sambar, vada is also Indian food, right? Momo is also Indian food. And apart from that, litti chokha is also Indian food. Kashmiri vazwa is also Indian food. Siddu is also Indian food. So there are n number of foods we have got, right? So this is what the diversity of India is. And this is what makes India the most unique nation of this planet, right? Most unique nation of this planet. Yes, for sure. Okay. And when it comes to the constitution, how could we have a general constitution? It's impossible, right? So the Constitution of India, as I stated in the beginning, that it is unique. Why? Because first thing, it is the Constitution of India. Then by default, it has to be unique. And what are the salient features we do have to study here? So the salient features means, once again, the highlight, the most important thing, okay, simply speaking, the adjective of the book, what we have here. So first thing, It is the lengthiest written constitution of this whole globe. Make no mistake, whole globe, right? When the Constitution of India was made, the very first constitution when it was made, okay, it had in the 1949, it had 395 articles divided into 22 parts and 8 schedules. Initially, in 1949, 26th of November 1949, when the Constitution was made, 395 articles, okay, divided into 22 parts and 8 schedules. But presently, till 2025, it consists of around 470 plus articles, a preamble to it, along with 25 parts and 12 schedules. The constitutions, they are either written or non-written. The Indian Constitution is written, but it is the lengthiest written constitution of this whole globe, right? Apart from that, when we talk about the nature of the Indian Constitution, okay, what is actually the nature of the Constitution? Okay, just give me a minute, please. So, the constitutions, the nature of the constitutions of this whole globe is divided in two different parameters, okay? The constitutions could be either rigid or they could be either flexible. Only the two types are there. Rigid constitution is one which is difficult to amend. Which is difficult to amend. But on the parallel side, on the contrary, a flexible constitution is that is easily amended. Okay. So, what do you think Indian Constitution is? Is it rigid or is it flexible? It's Indian Constitution. So, it is both. It is rigid as well as flexible. It is the only constitution of this globe that is having the blend of both, that is rigidity as well as flexibility. All of the other constitutions of this globe, all of them, may it be written or unwritten, either they are considered rigid or they are considered flexible. Either of them, either one of them, but not both of them. So it is only and only the Indian Constitution that is considered as rigid as well as flexible, both at the same time, right? So, right, a blend of rigidity and flexibility. Like for example, if we can see here what is the content, Article 368 provides for two types of amendments. Since the inception of the Constitution from 26th of January 1950, the Constitution till 2025 has been amended 106 times. So in exact 75 years, we have amended our Constitution 106 times. So you can see 1.23 amendments per year, right? And is there any provision in the Constitution that deals with the amendment of the Constitution itself? Yes, there is an article known as Article 368, okay, that talks about the amendment of the Constitution. So when we talk about Article 368, it has two types of amendments. Two types of amendments what? That is, some provisions can be amended by a special majority, that is 2/3 of the members present and voting, while some could be amended with a simple majority. Okay, that is 1/3 of the members present and voting, right? So two types of majority they are required to amend the Constitution, that is simple majority and special majority. Okay, that makes the Indian Constitution rigid as well as flexible. So that is what, okay, some provisions of the Constitution can be amended by simple as well as other needs a special majority to be amended. Okay, So this is the first thing that makes the Indian Constitution unique, okay? And now talking about the next thing. Federal system with unitary bias. The Bollywood movies of 1980s and 90s, if you have seen any or heard about them. So there was a common story found in many of the movies. That is, there used to be a very deadly, lethal villain, obvious means many of the time called as Kalia. And Kalia used to always give this dialogue कि ये कालिया की दुनिया है, यहाँ आने का रास्ता तो है लेकिन यहाँ से जाने का रास्ता नहीं है. That this is the world of Kalia, right? You can enter here but you cannot take exit. This is what the dialogues used to be. And this dialogue has been seriously taken by our constitution. India welcomes every particular territory. Whenever it wants to declare itself as part of India, it can declare. Let's say, for example, today, Pakistan or Bangladesh or Nepal, these are these separate independent nations. Not for a long time, but they are, right? But let's say, for example, tomorrow, they want that nahi yaar abhi mistake ho gaya tha ek thoda sa pehle we were separated and we accept our folly, we accept our mistake, and now we want to induct ourselves back to India. So can they? Yes, they can. Do they require any permission from any international organization or something like that? Not formally. Okay. But let's say, for example, any of this particular independent nation has inducted itself into India. And after a couple of days, weeks, or whatsoever time, that nation realizes that no, I was good independent only, and now I want to separate again. Then can that nation separate itself from the federation, from the union? No, never. Until and unless there is a provision passed by the parliament, an amendment is done inside the constitution, that particular territory now cannot secede itself from the Union of India. To add any territory which is not part of the Union so far, okay, then there is no provision of any sort of amendment. There is no sort of amendment required. But, reverse the thing. In order to secede any territory, parliamentary approval is needed, constitutional amendment is needed. So technically speaking, it is not possible for any territory, once it has become part of India, and then later on secede itself on its own will. Impossible. So that's the thing. Okay, यहाँ आने का रास्ता तो है, लेकिन यहाँ से जाने का कोई भी रास्ता नहीं है. Okay, you can come here anytime, but after coming here, becoming the part, you cannot secede yourself outside the union. Right? So that is why federal system with unitary bias. The Constitution of India has provided greater autonomy or more powers to the center. The states, they do work or they do play the role of the subordinate only. Center is in more power. Like, for example, we can geometrically represent it like this. If there is equal sharing of power, in case the powers are shared equally, so this could be the line, right? But powers are not shared equally. This is not the case of India. This is the case of America. Okay. In case of India, the line is something like this. Okay. It is tilted, right? So, the line is tilted, as at the top it is center and at the bottom it is the states. The center plays the role of big brother and states, they do play the role of the subordinate only, right? So, that is why federal system with unitary bias, as well, because in a federation, powers are distributed equally among the center as well as states. But not in the case of Union of India. Powers are not equally distributed. Hence, center enjoys more powers and states they do perform the role of a subordinate. First thing. And apart from that, they do not have the authority to secede themselves outside the union. And hence, India is majority of the times, okay, not majority of the times, India is mentioned by the political scientists as a nation with indestructible union and destructible states. How? Gujarat, Maharashtra, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Uttar Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. Earlier, these were the states which were one single state. Like Punjab and Haryana. Earlier, there was no Haryana. There was only Punjab. Earlier, there was no Gujarat. It was only Maharashtra. Earlier, there was no Ladakh as a different territory. It was part of Jammu and Kashmir only. The union possesses absolute authority to divide the states into 2, 3, 4 or whatever parts. And apart from that, union also possesses the authority to consolidate 2, 3, 4, 5 states to make one single state. The union can also alter the boundaries, change the names and so on. But only and only the union government, the union parliament actually possess this authority and not the states themselves. The very fresh example is Kashmir, Jammu Kashmir and Ladakh. Okay, initially the crown of India, okay, it used to be called just J and K and Ladakh used to be the part of it. But we have seen after the abrogation of Article 370 in the first week of August 2019 with regard to the Jammu and Kashmir reorganization bill, what we have seen that Ladakh was separated from Jammu and Kashmir and Ladakh is now a separate union territory and Jammu and Kashmir is a separate union territory. Though with a legislative assembly, it's a union territory only and so is Ladakh, okay, without a legislative assembly, right? So all of these powers are centered in the hands of whom? In the hands of union only. To change the names, alter the boundaries, consolidate them or divide them, all of these powers. And that is why this particular line is there. Okay, tilted at the top, it is center, at the bottom, it is the states. Right, everyone? So, the thing that we need to understand, the term federation is literally nowhere mentioned. Okay. Article 1 of the Indian Constitution, what it states? It states that India, that is Bharat, shall be the union of states. Guys, please make it very clear, very, very clear in your notes if you're making them, I'm sure. Okay. That the term federation is nowhere mentioned in the Constitution. Nowhere. Apart from the word federation, union word has been used. Okay. When we talk about simply Article 1. What does Article 1 talks about? That is India. That is Bharat shall be the union of states, right? So the word union has been used, not the federation. And this union explicitly explains that India is not the result of an agreement between the states. India is the union of states. Okay? So this is what you need to remember. So remember, federation is literally nowhere mentioned, right? And apart from that, the other things that makes India, okay, having a unitary bias. What is this unitary bias? The Indian Constitution contains a large number of unitary, that is non-federal features. And what are they? First thing, that is a strong center, obviously. Single citizenship, single constitution. There is no constitution for states. Till 2019, Kashmir was having it. But with the abrogation of Article 370, we eliminated the Kashmir's constitution as well. Why? Because one nation, one constitution, one citizenship. This is what we follow. Okay? So, apart from that, single citizenship. We are all citizens of India. If you go to America, you have the dual citizenship concept. Like, for example, you are the citizen of the United States of America. And apart from that, your particular state, let's say, for example, you are the resident of the state of California in America. Then you also possess the citizenship of state of California. So firstly, you are the citizen of California, and then secondly, you are the citizen of America. But in India here, we do not have any such thing existing. We are all Indians. You are Indian, I am Indian, we are Indian, right? We are all citizens of India, regardless of the state, color, custom, creed, culture, tradition, religion, caste, community, gender, place of birth, etc., etc. Right? We all are Indians and we must be proud of it. Apart from that, flexibility of the constitution, integrated judiciary. There is just one judiciary with 3 different levels. Remember, there is just one single court system, judicial system, with hierarchy of 3 levels. That is Supreme Court, Apex Court at the top, beneath High Court, and subordinate courts at the lower level. Right? But it is all one single integrated judiciary, integrated and independent judiciary. Okay? Next, appointment of state governor. It is done by the center, that is by the union only. And apart from that, appointment of all India services, emergency provisions, and so on. They are all the salient features of the unitary system, unitary country, which is unitary in nature, not federal in nature. If any country is federal in nature, you won't find such things there. You will find dual citizenship, dual constitution, okay? Apart from that, appointment of state governor by the center won't be there. The governor of the state would be appointed by that particular state only. And apart from that, there would be no all country services, something like that, okay? In a federal state only. Remember that. If a state is unitary in nature, you will find all of these things, and unitary is only India, right? Next, so as we were discussing, Article 1 of the Indian Constitution, what describes India? India shall be the union of states. That is, Indian Federation is not the result of an agreement by the states, okay? That is, no state has the right to secede itself from the federation. That is union. Okay, and remember, make no mistake, guys, federation word, we are using it just for the sake of explanation. But this federation word is nowhere, literally nowhere mentioned in the constitution. Right? Now, moving on to the next thing. Some experts in the field of political science, when they watched the Indian Union, their opinion has been listed here. Like, for example, the first name is here, K.C. Weare. Okay, so the Indian Constitution has been variously described as federal in form, but unitary in spirit, or simply quasi-federal. Not absolute federal, quasi-federal. And what is this quasi-federal concept? K.C. Weare, he stated India as bargaining federalism. Okay. K.C. Weare stated India as quasi-federal. Okay. Not bargaining federalism, as quasi-federalism. Okay. And bargaining federalism by Morris Jones, and cooperative federalism by Granville Austin, and federation with a centralizing tendency by Ivor Jennings. So these are the names, not much important from the perspective of prelims, honestly speaking. But yes, if you can remember these things and write the answer in the mains, then you will gain yourself some good marks for sure. Okay, so please make it clear. Okay. Quasi-federal by K.C. Weare, bargaining federalism by Morris Jones, cooperative federalism by Granville Austin, and federation with centralizing tendency by Ivor Jennings. These are the names that you need to mug up. Okay. Next, parliamentary form of government. See, the types of government. Whenever there is democracy, okay. Yes, good evening everyone. And guys, please, if there is anything you need to discuss between the classes with regard to any topic, Please do let me know into the comment section immediately. I assure you, for sure, I will cover up the questions that you guys have pasted there. Okay. So, the types of government. When we talk about democracy, okay, when we simply talk about democracy, this is only for democracy. Okay. Every democracy will have either of the government. It will be either presidential or it will be either parliamentary. Presidential form of government means, like for example, America. Okay, it is having president. But when we talk about parliamentary form of government also known as, it is known as with multiple names. Like for example, it is also known as prime ministerial form of government. Prime ministerial form of government. Or it is also known as in the name of cabinet form of government. Or it is also famous in the name of Westminster form of government. Okay. So these are some names. Prime ministerial form, cabinet form, Westminster form of government. The head is always the prime minister. Okay. Yes, president is also there, but president is considered as the nominal head, not the actual head. President is considered as the nominal head. The actual power center is the prime minister. So prime minister is considered here as the de facto leader, the actual leader, whereas the president will be considered as de jure, that is nominal leader. Prime minister will lead the government, whereas president will lead the state. Okay, so make this thing very clear. Okay, India के अंदर हमारे पास क्या है? What do we have in the India? Okay, that is the parliamentary form of government. Okay, call it the prime ministerial form, cabinet form, or the Westminster form of government. Okay, this is all same. 4 names, all same. Okay, so what we have the parliamentary form of government, right? Then the features of the parliamentary form of government. How do we define the features of the parliamentary form? Okay, so the presence of nominal and real executives, that is the prime minister and the president. Apart from that, collective responsibility of the legislature, collective responsibility of the executive to the legislature. Simply speaking, the council of ministers. Okay, then membership of the ministers in the legislature. Dual membership concept is being followed in India specifically. The one who is member of legislature could be also the member of executive. We'll be discussing this element into the upcoming chapters. Okay. Then leadership of the prime minister at the center and chief ministers at the states. And apart from that, dissolution of the lower house, that is Lok Sabha. Okay. It dissolves every 5 years. Okay, as we know it very well, in every 5 years, we do face the union elections or the general elections, also known as the Lok Sabha elections, right? Okay, so this is all the features of the parliamentary form of government, right? So presence of nominal and real executive, that is prime minister and president, and so on, right? Next. Even though the Indian parliamentary system is largely based on the British pattern, the two have some fundamental differences. See, when the next chapter we will be discussing, it is named as the sources of the Indian Constitution. And in that sources of the Indian Constitution, we will be discussing about the Government of India Act 1935, as well as the British parliamentary system. Okay, so Indian constitution is having much of the impact, much of the impact basically from the two sources. The first one is the Government of India Act of 1935 and the second one is the British parliamentary system itself. But still, though we have adopted the British parliamentary system, but still there exists some basic level differences. And for example, the Indian Parliament is not supreme. Okay, Indian Parliament is not supreme, but the British Parliament is supreme, as in word sovereign. First thing. Second, the Indian state has an elected head. That is, we are republic. Our president, who is the head of the state, okay, is always elected by the people, though indirectly, but elected by the people only, right? But in Britain, still the concept of crown exists. The state has a hereditary head, that is a monarch, right? So these are the two basic level differences. Now, a question would be roaming in your heads here. That is, Indian Parliament is not sovereign? Come on, give me a break. Are you just not kidding? No, I'm not kidding. Parliament of India is not sovereign, as Parliament alone cannot take all the decisions. Okay, Parliament has to take in care the rights of the people. They are not hindered, they are not abrogated, they are not abridged, they are not infringed. There is no scope of violation with the rights of any or every individual basically, right? And apart from that, there is also judiciary sitting on besides of the same level of parliament, judiciary with judicial review as well as judicial activism. With these two concepts, the judiciary can declare any act passed by parliament as invalid, null and void or unconstitutional, right? And hence all of these things makes Indian parliament as not sovereign. Okay, parliament has to take care of the government as well as judiciary as well as executive, right? But though British parliament is absolutely sovereign. Okay, now the Indian state, once again, we are having the elected head. That is why we are considered as the Republic of India. But on the contrary, British Parliament, okay, the British state, they are not republic, as the state head is still a monarch. Though they have democracy, but monarch also exists there. Next comes into the picture, that is the integrated and independent judiciary, as I was speaking into the beginning of this session, right? The judiciary of India is independent and integrated. Integrated as in we have one single judiciary. We do not have multiple or different judiciaries. One single judiciary is there. Okay, Indian judiciary. And this Indian judiciary, it is having three different levels, organs or hierarchy. At the top, at the apex, we have got one and only Supreme Court of India. Supreme Court, just below the Supreme Court at the state level, we have got the high courts for the states. And at the district level, we have got the subordinate courts. They are all part of one thing, that is Indian judiciary only, with three different levels, three different organs. Okay, guys, so please remember integrated and independent. Independent as in, what does this word independent refers? Judiciary has nothing to deal with the government. Judiciary has nothing to deal with the other two organs of democracy, that is legislature and executive. Okay, judiciary works as an independent organization. In the next session, we will be also discussing about the theory of checks and balance, and then in that theory, we will be discussing about the organs of democracy, that is legislature, executive, and judiciary. Okay. So, according to this principle, all of the three wings, they have independence. They do not rely on each other. And so does the judiciary here. That is why in judiciary it is considered as independent. Integrated because it is one single with three different organs. So integrated, and independent as in judiciary has no role, literally no role when it comes to the relationship with government. Okay, government is different, judiciary is different. Okay. So independent and integrated judiciary. So the Supreme Court stands at the top, and to assist it at the states and the district levels, we have got high courts and subordinate courts respectively. Okay. Now see this thing here. This single system of courts, they enforces both, that is the central laws as well as the state laws. Okay. The Supreme Court is considered as the guardian of the Constitution, the custodian of the fundamental rights of the citizens. Okay. And it enforces all the laws. Yes, it takes care of all the laws. But whose? What all? Central laws as well as the state laws. Okay. So make this thing very clear. Single and independent judiciary. Okay. And takes care of the central laws as well as the state laws. Next, we are a secular state. Who we are? We are a secular state. What is secular? Secular means I respect every religion. Secular also means I follow every religion. And secular, on the contrary, also means I do not follow any religion. So secularism has two distinct parameters. The first one is known as positive secularism, whereas another one is known as negative secularism. Positive secularism says I respect and admit each and every religion or all religions. And on the contrary, negative secularism states that I do not believe no religion. I do not believe in any religion, simply no religion. Okay. For me, religion doesn't exist. Any religion doesn't exist. That is known as negative secularism. So what do you think? What's your opinion? Do we follow the negative secularism or do we follow the positive one? Come on, guys. Can I have the answers into the comment box? Do we follow negative or positive? Which secularism we do follow? Yes. No answers yet. Okay. We follow the positive secularism. Okay, we follow only the positive secularism. That is the state of India. Okay. It respects and admits each and every religion. Okay, we respect and we provide equality to each and every religion or every religious domination. Right? So this is what the concept of secularism is. Next, universal adult franchise. Regardless of your religion, caste, race, community, gender, place of birth or whatsoever, just if you are citizen of India and you are 18 and above, then you can use your democratic right, that is right to vote. That is what is known as universal adult franchise. So 18 years, this is what the eligibility criteria stands with. Whatever your name is, whatever your caste, community, color, religion is, doesn't matter. The constitution doesn't give a damn. 18 ho, chalo aao vote do. Okay, if you are 18 plus, come give the vote. Okay, a vote. You want to cast your vote? To whom? To not? To this? To that? It's absolutely your call, right? So this concept of 18 years has been amended. Amended just once, that is 61st Constitutional Amendment Act of 1988. Earlier, before 1988, the voting age used to be 21. Okay, the eligibility criteria was the age of 21. But through the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act, 1988, this 21 was converted to 18. So the voting age was reduced from 21 to 18. When? In the year 1988. Through which amendment? Through the 61st Constitutional Amendment Act. Okay, 1988. Okay, guys. So that's it for this session. But remember, the upcoming session, the next session will be the sources of the Indian Constitution. Though generally, when we deal with the salient features of the Indian Constitution, we deal with the sources of the Indian Constitution in the very same chapter. But as I promised to you guys, that we will provide you the quality content and in-depth content, right? So just to fulfill the promise, we will be having multiple chapters. Okay, we will be going in depth, in detail, not to worry about anything, right? And hence that is why the sources of the Indian Constitution we will be discussing in a different session, so that we can have a proper and better understanding of each and every element. Right, everyone? So that's it with this session for today. Okay, we will be meeting tomorrow with the very next chapter. Please make it clear the name, that is the sources of the Indian Constitution. Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining. Please do not forget to like the video. Yes, time tomorrow, that will be 2 p.m. daily. It will be 8 p.m. daily, right? Okay. So guys, timings, please note it. 9 a.m. in the morning, we will be dealing with the current affairs. Okay. Then in that meantime, daytime, we'll be also meeting a couple of times for the current affairs, the hot topic or the burning topic of the day. And apart from that, in the evening, 8 p.m., we will be meeting again live with the subject of Indian polity. Okay, guys. So please do provide your valuable feedback into the comment section. And apart from that, please don't forget to like the video. And if you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe to the channel. And see you all tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. sharp with the current affairs marathon class. So guys, make it clear once again, tomorrow 9 a.m. Okay, we will be having the current affairs class. We will be discussing the monthly current affairs of the preceding month, that is February. Okay, with regard to the subjects of polity and governance. Okay, we will be discussing all of the important events that took place inside our country in the month of February. So it will be a kind of a marathon class. So guys, see you all tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Bye bye, take care, good evening, good night, Jai Hind.